Hey guys, it's been a while, hasn't it? You probably noticed a big gap in the things I've been doing. There's a reason for that. Look, I don't think this is going to pan out. In all honesty, the things I've been doing on this channel, they just don't feel honest. I'm going to be clear about this. It doesn't feel like I'm actually doing what I enjoy here. It feels like a lot of this stuff feels like when I'm recording, I don't actually show who I truly am. I'm trying my best right now to do that. But more than that, I've come to a few realizations in the time that I've been away. I've realized there's a lot of stuff I gotta work on myself mentally. There's a lot of stuff I gotta do for myself. So, I guess what I'm saying here is, until further notice, the TheAnimatedEye channel is done. That's it. It's over. I mean, in most of these videos, I feel like I'm actually being honest with you guys, but I feel like I kind of have a problem censoring myself. And I'm not talking about the person. That you pretty much already know. I don't have a problem with that at all. I mean, when I'm trying to act as myself, I find that I sort of, how to put this? It's almost like putting a mask on. Like right now, I'm actually doing the best I can not to do that. But I've come to the realization that there's a few things I've got to get through before I can actually even so much as think of doing this. I need to take some time to think about what direction I actually want this to go in. Do I want to still keep using this channel? What am I actually doing? What's the point? So yeah, that's about it on that end. But there's also a lot of other things. Well, I wouldn't say a lot. There's more specifically, it's me working on my career I gotta worry about right now. I'm actually going to be going to work soon. I actually got myself a job. Yay! So there's that. I actually got some temp work. It's going to be full-time, so I'm not going to have much time to be doing this. And as you know, this isn't going anywhere. If I'm going to be doing something, at the very least, it needs to have some sort of purpose here. So there's that. So there's a very good chance I won't be working on anything for quite a while yet. What else can we talk about? You know, I might actually just go around doing, like, looking at the weird stuff on the net. Like Max Headroom, the Max Headroom incident, the broadcast intrusion. If you've ever heard about that, I love that kind of weird shit. Yeah, I don't think I'm gonna be, like, I'm gonna try, I've said this like 1,000 times, I'm gonna try to stop the cursing, but no guarantees. It's a lot harder than you think. But I feel like I'm not actually putting my full self out here. I'm not putting my own personality out here. On top of which, I know I did like a couple of advertisements or something with YouTube's advertisement thing. I think I'm going to stop with that, because that in and of itself kind of feels icky, if you know what I mean. It kind of feels a little scuzzy to do that. It didn't feel quite right when I was doing it beforehand, so after this video is posted, you're not going to see any more ads from me, so you'll be glad for that. But yeah, I don't really think I'm going to keep doing this. I got a lot of stuff to sort out. I got a lot of stuff up here to think about. I got a lot of figuring myself out to do. And I've got to focus on my career now. I can't just put everything towards this thing. I've got to learn to get my life together. I've got to learn to be myself. Till that's done, I'm probably not going to be on. So yeah. Might make a couple comments or something. I don't know. But the truth of the matter is, I feel that most of the stuff I've done on this channel has been bupkis. I mean, I'll be honest, I actually did like Refund, the game that I put a review up for. That was a very good game, and it is actually very therapeutic. There's very few games you can get that are calming like that. So, yeah. I feel like a lot of this stuff is just going to be me. I don't know what I'm going to do in the future with this. I have no idea where I'm going. So, until further notice, the TheAnimatedEye channel is hereby shut down. I have no idea what I'm doing. The only thing I really know is I have to get my life together, I have to get my mind together, and I have to focus on my career and work. That's the beginning and end of this. Once I am actually free in those regards, then maybe I'll do something. Or maybe I'll just do this, like, post a video every week. For me, you know, just to talk about stuff. I think I might just delete the other... You know what? I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to delete the earlier stuff, like the Last of Us. Because, I'll be honest, you know what? Screw it. Let's make this a Last of Us video. Okay, let's talk about the game. You will be... Pendejo. Bruto. Again? Seriously, what the hell? That's another problem with my klutz. I have no idea where my body is at any given point in time. But let's talk about The Last of Us, okay? This is going to be a pretty basic review here. The game's good. It has a very good story, the characters are likable, mechanics are solid, not that bad. In that respect, they get a 9 out of 10. Here's the problem. The game is repetitive as hell. I'll be honest. Yeah, a lot of games have repetition in them. That's kind of the nature of the game. There's some things you have to repeat over and over again. The combat in Breath of the Wild usually has some other options that you can add in to vary things up. Hell, Warriors games are, like, notorious for being... well... they're notorious for being samey. Like, it's the same actions over and over again. You can vary it up with different combos, but it kind of feels like it gets repetitive after a while. The Last of Us kind of suffers from that in certain areas to the point where I kind of get sick of playing it. But I will say this much, what keeps me playing it is the story. The story is very emotional, it's very impactful, and it has some pretty good writing. So yeah, I will say the story is actually what saves this game from being too repetitive. I was able to play it through to the end, but I feel like, I don't know, maybe it's because I played Breath of the Wild before this, but I feel like there's not enough exploration in this game. It's very linear. And when you have linear combat, especially with gun-based games, the way that you can make this more enjoyable is by keeping the pace up, keeping the action up. But the problem solving in the game doesn't feel like it's very fluid. It doesn't feel like it's organic. It feels like it kind of just falls short, you know what I mean? So, all in all, the mechanics, there's nothing inherently wrong about them. It's just, I feel like the flow could have used a lot better work. I don't know, it just feels a little clangy, a little bit like, what's the word for that? It felt bulky, uneven, awkward. I guess you could probably use those words to describe me. But yeah, it didn't feel like it actually worked together very well. It felt bleh. But altogether, if I'm going to be honest here, how do I rate the game? I'll give it a solid 8 out of 10. It's a good game. It's not a bad game. There are far worse games with far worse mechanics. And the story is amazing, which actually sets it apart from other games. But it doesn't really do anything new. It doesn't reinvent the wheel. And it could use a little more flavor. It's like a hearty stew. Don't forget the fat guy reference here. It's like a hearty stew. It's really good for what it does. It does its job well. But it could use a little more flavor. It could use a little spice. Something to, you know, make it feel a little more vibrant. And I'm not talking vibrant as in colorful, happy, yay, not that kind of vibrant. But, I mean, come on, this is a post-apocalyptic world with a fungus zombie apocalypse. It's not supposed to be colorful. But I guess what I mean is, I wish there were some more elements that could add a feeling of life to the game. But that's about it. That's my thoughts and feelings on The Last of Us. My personal thought, if you're into exploration games, this is not for you. There's not very much exploration to do here. Like I said, something I find funny, a lot of reviewers highly praise the game and kind of shot down Lollipop Chainsaw. Why do I enjoy Lollipop Chainsaw more than this game? Now, let's be blunt on this. It's a Suda game. Suda is batshit crazy. Suda 51 games are known for being batshit crazy. But they're awesome because of it. They don't really have what you call a solid story. They have a jumbled up, chaotic story. But that's actually kind of what gives them appeal. I will say the one thing that Suda games don't do well on is, well, they kind of focus too much on sex in certain areas. What do I mean by this? Like, Juliet's alternate costumes, Killer is Dead's gigolo missions. These kind of things, like, it's cool if the alternate costumes are like cosplay, like they give shoutouts to different anime people like. That's wonderful. You really do not need a string seashell bikini. That's kind of stupid. But the gigolo missions in Killer is Dead were the one thing I hated. They broke up the flow of gameplay. I hated them like crazy. They were the worst part of the game. Everything else was amazing. In fact, I liked Killer is Dead more than I liked Lollipop Chainsaw. Clunky, that's the word I was looking for. Let's put it this way. The Last of Us can feel a little bit clunky on the gameplay flow. Not on the gameplay itself. The gameplay itself is smooth as butter. But the flow from section to section can kind of feel a little bit clunky and slow. In a way, Not Killer's Dead, but Lollipop Chainsaw sort of suffers from that in the beginning, but it makes up for it by having amazing, again, batshit crazy characters and story that draw you in. And once you unlock enough combos, it becomes an arcade style, so you know what you're getting into. This one isn't really arcade style. It's not really a normal, typical shooter. It just doesn't feel amazing at all to play in that way. It's a good game. It's not necessarily bad, and you might be able to forgive the slight problems with the game mechanics. But overall, my experience with it, I've actually finished it. I'm on the DLC now. I kind of left it alone. This is what I'm talking about. There's nothing to draw me back in aside from the story and the drama, and I'm not really much for drama, if I'm going to be completely honest. Just give me the action, damn it. But, yeah, I'll give it a solid 8 out of 10. Naughty Dog did a pretty good job with this game. I know how much effort and time usually goes into a game, especially debugging and programming. That stuff takes a long time to do. So I will give them props for that. I didn't find any bugs. I didn't see anything bad there. Then again, I'm not really huge on debugging games myself. So, yeah. In all honesty, it was a good game. So, if you liked it, give it a shot. But back to the main point of this. The main point here is that I have no idea what I'm doing with this channel. I have absolutely shit's clue of what I'm doing. So, until I figure myself out, until I take time to actually figure out what's up with me, until I figure out how to be myself again, I'm not going to go into too much detail here. I've had some stuff happen to me in the past. I'm not a drama guy, so it is what it is, guys. It's life. We all go through stuff like this. Sometimes the stuff we go through is a little more crazy than others, but we go through it. So, yeah. Until further notice, this channel's on lockdown. I'm not going to be posting anything. I'm not going to be doing anything until I figure out how to actually have my own flow, my own rhythm of my own life back. Until I figure out how to be me again. This is on hold. This takes precedence. But more than anything right now, the biggest thing that actually takes precedence is my career, my certifications, and my professional life. So, it's been... I guess it's kind of been fun in the beginning. I mean, there's not many people that actually look at this channel at all, if you're going to be honest here. I've gotten the most views I've gotten from people pretty much just stumbling upon an ad that I've had. But like I said, I don't feel like that's really cool at all. It kind of... You know, let's talk about this for a second. Let's have a little talk about YouTube and what it used to be. YouTube used to be this crazy imaginative place where weird stuff would happen all the time. You had your weird side of YouTube, you had your good side of YouTube, you had videos that probably should have been taken down a year ago when they were first posted. But back in the golden age of YouTube, I mean, people tried to do that. People tried to make amazing weird stuff, and they still do. But nowadays, I'm starting to feel like YouTube's become more of a corporate entity than it really has a place to broadcast yourself. I mean, YouTube's motto is broadcast yourself, but is that really what's going on? I've seen a lot of creative stuff happen, a lot of stuff that should be taken off. I mean, like getting millions upon millions of views. A good example would be Joel G. That guy's stuff is great. I love Hands Up, which is one of their original series that they do. I love Hands Up. I love Ula and Margot. They're awesome characters. I am completely obsessed with Ina and Extinction Party. What was the other one? It was the one with the great Runus. I forgot what it's called. I hate when I do this. What was it? Temptation Stairway. They're supposed to also have another one coming out. I don't know if they got it out yet. I haven't heard anything. My alerts haven't been going off on YouTube very well. I usually find out just by scrolling through my page before I actually get an alert. That's another problem. But, how to put this? I feel like the corporatization of YouTube has actually taken a lot of the soul out of this. It's not the same place I remember. You could see some weird stuff on YouTube. Dark stuff, artistic stuff. But nowadays, a lot of it's being put behind this banner of, well, censorship. I mean, you're not allowed to show certain things that may be considered extreme, and yet at the same time, you have videos on here that are not safe for anyone of any age to look at, like live leak stuff. I mean, where's the logic in that? I don't know. YouTube's kind of lost a lot of its soul, if I'm going to be completely honest. If I do start uploading again, it's pretty much just going to be because, you know, I want to do it. It's going to be for fun. Bits and giggles, my own thoughts. Yeah, maybe that's the direction I could take this, and just make it my own thoughts. Just put it out there. It doesn't need to have a ton of video or whatever, I don't know. The point of the matter is, I feel like YouTube has lost a lot of its soul. And it feels like a lot of this really happened within the last 6 years or so. I mean, like I said, there was the whole debacle with a lot of YouTubers getting demonetized simply because they said one bad word. And you have a lot of people who are like the top earners getting away with pretty much everything. I mean, yeah, hell. In the what's it called? In the FNAF scene, I mean, hell, it's a video game based upon horror, so you know there's going to be blood and guts and stuff. There have been some people who have done theories and hypotheses on different lore aspects of that who have gotten shut down just because they showed a little bit of blood, which it's a freaking horror game. What do you expect? But that's kind of beside the point, I guess. So, summing up this whole video, number one, I have no idea what I'm going to do with this, and because of my professional and personal obligations, I'm not going to be continuing this. The channel's going to be shut down. Number two, the review of The Last of Us. Good game, but kind of repetitive, so it doesn't really draw me back in. It doesn't really have anything to offer me in that respect. It doesn't draw me in with fantasy aspects like Skyrim does. It doesn't draw me back with the amazing lore and characters like Bloodborne, and yes, Zelda does have lore, Legend of Zelda. Zelda's more of the characters, really, but it's, well, the characters, the mechanics, everything just feels awesome about the Zelda series. Huge fan. You've already known this. But it's a decent game. It just doesn't draw me back in. It's a personal preference. Some people may love The Last of Us. I know there are a lot of you who are ecstatic about the game. So if it's you, it's you. It's whatever you want. And third, and finally, I feel like YouTube has lost a lot of its soul within the last few years. I'm gonna be honest, the last time I really feel like YouTube had a lot of freedom was around 2012. Around 2012. Nowadays it panders to the advertisers. Hell, even some of these advertisers are things that you should not be talking about with kids. I mean, seriously. Have you seen advertisers for guys shaving their junk? Seriously. You want to argue that you're kid-friendly, but you put ads for shaving your... Woo! Yeah, right, sure. Keep telling yourself that, buddy. Plus, there's a reason they have YouTube Kids. There's a million one videos on the subject. If I were you, check it out. Educate yourself on it. There's a whole ton of reasons why this is not on the creators to actually moderate their content. This is actually lying on the parents for making sure that your kids are actually watching what they're supposed to watch and not watching what they're not supposed to watch. It is... Let's put it this way. The biggest one's on the parents. I mean, it's kind of like TV. You gotta watch your kids and make sure they're not watching, I don't know, 50 Shades of Grey or some stupid shit like that. I mean, you gotta watch your kids, make sure they're not watching something inappropriate. That's pretty much the biggest one I can think of on here. There's actually a couple of rules and laws and stuff having to do with the whole COPA thing that happened a while ago. But the point of the matter is, I feel like a lot of the creative soul of YouTube has been taken out. There are still some good channels, there are still some good things, but I feel like this has become more of a business than it has a place to broadcast yourself. Who knows, maybe one day somebody will make an alternative site to YouTube that actually blows up, has the same freedoms, has the same opportunities, and hell, even has advertisers, but instead keeps solid on paying the creators. I think what happened here was that the big creators kind of lost bargaining power. It's kind of like the advertisers just wanted more and more and more. They kept asking, okay, we don't want to work for people who do this sort of stuff, and then they added more onto it, and then more onto it, and then more onto it, until the point where, you know, it's actually hard to find out what do these guys actually want. What do I have to do to get monetized? Myself, like I said, no problems with that. I'm not really doing this for a living, so I'm glad that I don't have to worry about that. But there are sites like Game Theory, or sites, there are channels like Game Theory that have actually had a very hard time of it having to do with censorship. But yeah, that's pretty much just my thoughts here. So yeah, I've said it before. You already know what's going on with the channel. 8 out of 10, decent game. Not really drawing me anymore. And I really feel like YouTube has lost the soul of what it was originally about. But I think a lot of people have already talked about that subject, so go ahead and support them and go take a look at their videos. Well, that's me. That's the Animated Eye. It's been an interesting journey, guys, but I think we're done here. So, until such a time in which I can find myself and make sure I actually have a stable job and actually have a place to live on my own, well, this is probably going to be it, unless I actually feel like there's something I need to talk about. So, it's been great, guys. I'm going back into the negative zone. See you later. I just gotta work on my certifications. See you around, guys.